Early Republic Unit Test. Number 1. The need to establish precedents for new system of government. The need to place the nation's finances on sound footing, means have good finances. Need to create a federal court system. During which period did the American leaders face these problems? A. The French and Indian War. B. The presidency of George Washington. Or D. The presidency of Abraham Lincoln. Number 2. What problem faced President George Washington during the Whiskey Rebellion of 1791 to 1794? A. How to collect an unpopular government tax from farmers who didn't want to pay. B. How to prevent Western farmers from drinking too much. Or D. How to encourage Western farmers to sell their whiskey to Eastern cities. What was the Whiskey Rebellion? Number 3. Which of the following best describes the process of judicial review? B. The Supreme Court can overrule laws it believes are unconstitutional. C. 2/3 of Congress can override a president's veto. D. A majority of each house is needed to pass federal legislation. Number 4. The states owed debts to soldiers for their efforts in the American Revolution. The Continental Congress owed money to bondholders. American manufacturers wanted a tariff to protect them from competition from the British. And Americans needed a stable currency. Number 4. Which of the following was to solve these financial problems? Was it A. Alexander Hamilton's financial plan, B. Judiciary Act of 1789, or C. the Bill of Rights, 1791? 5. Northerners in favor of higher taxes in the early 1800s argued that tariffs and taxes, B. raised money and protected American manufacturers, C. redistributed wealth among different social classes, D. encouraged the export of the American cotton and other crops. Number 6. As Secretary of Treasury, Alexander Hamilton proposed a plan to create a stable economic system for the United States. However, one unplanned result of Hamilton's plan was the realization of one of President Washington's worst fears. What was this unplanned result? A. The creation of American political parties. B. The westward expansion of slavery. Or D. The introduction of federal income tax. Number 7. Which statement best characterizes United States foreign policy from President George Washington to President James Monroe? B. The United States attempted to establish its own colonial empire in Latin America. C. The United States followed a policy of neutrality, staying on their own toward European nations. Or D. The United States provided international leadership by acting as the world's policeman. Number 8. In the decision of Marbury v. Madison of 1803, the U.S. Supreme Court B. abolished the slave trade, C. placed limits on free speech, or D. established the court's power of judicial review. Number 9. What term describes a group of people helping and giving the president advice on issues? A. Tariff. B. Judiciary. D. Cabinet. Number 10. What important effect of the War of 1812 was the United States, and we're going to look at this map below. A, opposed French imperialism by Napoleon. B, was able to purchase the Louisiana Territory. Or D, annexed new territories also claimed by Canada. Number 11. What was one positive effect of the purchase in this area by the United States from the map above? B, it led to violence over the issue of westward extension of slavery. C, it doubled the land area of the United States and gave it control of the Mississippi River. Or D, it caused border fights with Mexico leading to U.S.-Mexican War. Number 12. Why was the Bill of Rights added to the U.S. Constitution? A, to ensure that slavery would be banned throughout the nation. B, to allow former slaves to become citizens of the United States. C, to make sure that individual rights were protected by the Constitution. 13. Which founding father was the leader of the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War? B, Benjamin Franklin. C, John Adams. D, George Washington. I believe that the time has come for us to declare war on Britain. The British Royal Navy has been impressing our sailors on the high seas. Moreover, they have no right to be in North America. Canada is ours for the taking. This guy wants to go to war. 14. Whose point of view is expressed from that speech of wanting to go to war? Is it A, a patriot in the Continental Congress before the outbreak of the American Revolution? B, a war hawk who wants war in the Senate before the War of 1812? Or D, an abolitionist against slavery in the House of Representatives during the Civil War? Number 15. Let's see if you're paying attention. The answer is A, George Washington, number 15. Answer is A. 16. What was John Marshall's most important accomplishment as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court? A, allowing state laws to go above the laws of the national government. C, started the power of judicial review, which is to check if laws are constitutional, over state and federal laws. D, helping to move the Cherokee Nation from their lands. 17. Which American president wanted European powers not to start new colonies in the Western Hemisphere? A, George Washington. B, Thomas Jefferson. D, James Monroe. Number 18. Which date is correctly paired with the event that occurred on this date? A, 1607 is the arrival of the penguins. Arrival of the Pilgrims. B, 1620 is the signing of the Mayflower Compact. C, 1776 is the Louisiana Purchase signed. Which of those is correctly matched? 19. Alexander Hamilton's economic plan was designed to A, help build and strengthen the national economy. C, prevent congressional control of interstate commerce. Or D, strengthen the powers of state governments. Number 20. Which statement correctly describes one of the first American political parties? A, Democrat Republicans looked to Alexander Hamilton and John Adams for leadership. B, Democratic Republicans favored a strict construction of the U.S. Constitution. Or D, Federalists feared a strong national government. 21. This excerpt above is a cornerstone of the U.S. foreign policy announced by which president? We have Washington, Jefferson, Monroe. Saying, our policy in regard to Europe is to not interfere. He's saying, don't mess with Europe, don't deal with them. He doesn't want to have any sort of treaties with Europe. That's what it's all saying. Our first president, was it Washington, Jefferson, or Monroe? 22. Leading members of President George Washington's cabinet. You have Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of Treasury Alexander Hamilton. Disagreements between these two cabinet members led to A, the creation of reservations for American Indians, C, the establishment of the first U.S. political parties, or D, a compromise over slavery in the West. 23. President George Washington opposed the formation of political parties because he believed they would A, extend voting rights to people without property, B, put men in office willing to accept bribes or favors, D, create jealousies and conflicts that would divide Americans. 24. A group of people who share the same beliefs or viewpoints on government is defined as a patriot, political party, candidate. 25. How did President George Washington's farewell address influence the foreign policy of the United States? A, it signaled that American presidents should reduce the importation of European goods. C, it advised later American presidents to follow a policy of neutrality in dealing with European nations. Or D, it suggested that American leaders place restrictions on the number of immigrants entering the United States. 26. The Alien and Sedition Acts took place during the presidency of James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams. 27. Which of the following was a defining characteristic of the era of good feelings? A, the United States ceded territory to Great Britain in an attempt to avoid war. B, there was a renewed sense of nationalism. Or C, many states called for restricting of the federal government. 28. You have British support of American Indians in the Northwest Territory, British impressment of American sailors. These both led to something, which led to the Treaty of Ghent. Which best completes the diagram? A, the Boston Tea Party, B, the War of 1812, or D, the Civil War. 29. Which precedent was established by the Supreme Court ruling of Marbury versus Madison? C. The answer is C. If you've listened the whole time, 29 is C. And 30, the last question. We have socks here. In Britain, British socks sell for $1.75 a pair. But then they ship them to America, a 75-cent tariff is added to it, so that means the British socks now sell for $2.50. American-made socks sell for $2. What is one consequence, bad thing, of the type of taxes shown on this diagram? A, British manufacturers sold more goods in America. B, American Indians preferred to purchase British goods. Or D, Northern factory owners received some protection from British competition.